Belly fat is easy to gain, but can feel almost impossible to lose. You probably know that your diet is key to getting rid of it, but figuring out where to start and how to keep going can be tough. Today I'll show you a simple 3-step plan to help you start losing belly fat and keep it off for good. But before we get into the steps, let's talk about why they're important and why you need them in the first place. So you're probably sitting somewhere between 15% and 25% body fat, or maybe even 30 to 35%. But no matter where you are right now, you'll need to lose fat from other parts of your body before your body starts targeting belly fat for energy. For most people, this process really kicks in around 15% body fat, and by the time you get down to about 12% or 10%, that stubborn belly fat will almost be gone. While your diet is crucial in making this happen, the diet that helps you drop from, say, 25% to 15% body fat usually won't be enough to push you down to 12%. And the same goes for dropping from 12% to 10%. So as you get leaner, there are specific things you need to be mindful of and adjustments you should make to your diet to avoid hitting a plateau and losing muscle. Then let's start with stage 1. The first stage is designed to kickstart your fat loss journey and keep the momentum going until you reach about 15% body fat. So throughout the stage, your hunger levels will be low. Your risk of muscle loss will be minimal, and physiologically, it will be the easiest stage to push through. The process is actually quite simple. There are only 2 key factors you need to focus on: calories and protein. First, let's talk about calories. You don't need to completely cut out carbs, sugar, or any of your favorite foods. All you need to do is to create what's known as an energy deficit to start forcing your body to burn fat for energy. You do this by consuming fewer calories than your body burns each day. To find the right energy deficit for your body, take your weight in pounds and multiply it by anywhere from 11 to 13. If you're taller, younger, or more active, go with the higher end. If you're shorter, older, or less active, go with the lower end. The number you get will be a rough estimate of the calories you should eat each day. But to hit your calorie goal, some foods are better than others. I recommend focusing on what's known as low-calorie density foods. These are foods that, for the amount of space they take up in your stomach, add only a relatively low number of calories to your daily total. For example, here's what 200 calories of Oreos look like. And here's what 200 calories of cereal looks like. For the same amount of calories, you could fill your stomach with a mountain of strawberries and carrots. And since low-calorie density foods tend to be unprocessed, they also require more calories to burn and digest than more processed foods. Now let's talk about how much of a difference this can make for fat loss. In a recent 2019 study, 20 adults were put on a diet consisting only of high-calorie density processed foods for 2 weeks. Then they switched to a diet of low-calorie density, unprocessed food for 2 weeks. In both cases, they were allowed to eat as much food as they wanted. The result? The processed foods diet led to almost 2 pounds of weight gain. But once they switched to the unprocessed diet, their daily calorie intake dropped by over 500 calories and they ended up losing over 2 pounds. Then at the end of this stage, I'll provide a list of low-calorie density food items for you to pick from. But before that, there's one more factor you need to pay attention to. Although eating fewer calories than your body needs will help you lose weight, you want as much of that weight loss as possible to come from fat rather than muscle. This is where protein comes in. You need to start eating more of it. In fact, in studies where subjects go on the same diet and lose the same amount of weight, those who eat more protein end up losing more fat and less muscle. As for how much protein you should aim for, a good recommendation for relatively heavier males in this stage who are at a higher body fat percentage is to eat 1 gram per centimeter of your height. So if you're 175 centimeters tall, you should aim to eat around 175 grams of protein per day, with the rest of your calories coming from carbs and fats. But if you're a relatively lighter individual or closer to a 15% body fat, then you want to multiply your body weight in pounds by 0.8 and at a minimum, eat that many grams of protein per day. Now, this might sound like a lot at first, but it's pretty easy to do if you choose the right protein sources. So to apply all this, take a look at these lists. Here's a list of some low-calorie density unprocessed foods, and here's a list of protein sources ordered from highest to lowest in terms of how much protein they contain relative to their calories. Use these lists to build your meals throughout the day and try to include one lean protein source and at least one serving of fruits and or veggies in each of your meals. For example, instead of a muffin for breakfast, have some egg whites with blueberries and oatmeal. You can still enjoy processed foods every now and then, but just be mindful of your serving sizes and enjoy them in moderation. So focus only on calories and protein each day, and if you stay consistent, you'll be able to get your body fat down to 15%. But at this point, you'll likely need to refine your approach to continue seeing results. This is where stage 2 comes in, focusing on reducing your body fat from 15% to 12%. But at this stage, your hunger will increase and your rate of fat loss will begin to slow. So you're also at a slightly higher risk of losing muscle. Many people often find themselves stuck at this point. However, there are two key strategies to help you push through. First, you'll need to refine the approach you used in stage 1. As you shed more fat, your metabolism will slow down, which means you'll start burning fewer calories each day. This is your body's way of holding onto its remaining fat reserves. So, the energy deficit that you got to 15% body fat might not be sufficient to reach 12%. To counter this, if you haven't already, begin tracking your daily calorie intake with greater precision. You might feel this isn't necessary, but studies indicate that people tend to underestimate their calorie consumption by around 429 calories per day. So, even if just temporarily, measure your food portions to accurately assess your calorie intake and ensure you're maintaining an energy deficit. Second, at this stage, it's time to fine-tune your carbohydrate and fat intake. Take note of the types of carbs and fats you're consuming. While healthy fats are essential in your diet, fats contain over twice as many calories per gram as carbs. So a smart approach is to maintain a high protein intake but reduce your daily fat intake to the lower end of the recommended range for general health, around 20% to 25% of your daily calories. Then, this adjustment will allow you to increase your carb intake. These additional carbs can help you manage hunger better, but they'll also give you the energy boost you need to power through your daily activities and gym sessions, aiding in burning more calories and preserving muscle mass. Make these adjustments, and with consistency, you should be able to drop down to around 12% body fat. When it comes to your nutrition, the plan is actually pretty simple. The tough part is sticking with it. You need to be clear about what you want, then find something you like and follow consistently over time. I'd also highly suggest that you give this video a watch next for an exercise to help you speed up the fat loss process.